Have you ever wondered if our history books are missing a chapter? What if an advanced civilization existed thousands of years before we thought possible, only to be wiped out by a global catastrophe? This isn't a movie plot. It's the core question posed by one of the most controversial and compelling figures of our time, Graham Hancock. For decades, he's been on a quest, traveling the globe, diving into ancient myths, and examining mysterious ruins, all in an attempt to uncover a lost episode of human history. But who is Graham Hancock? Is he a brilliant investigative journalist piecing together a hidden truth, or a purveyor of pseudoscience, as his critics claim? Today, we're going on a journey to explore the man, his revolutionary ideas, and the firestorm of debate he's ignited. We'll look at the evidence he presents, the criticisms he faces, and ask the big question: could our understanding of the past be fundamentally wrong? Graham Hancock wasn't always a historical detective. He began his career as a journalist, reporting from conflict zones and writing books on economics and social issues. In the 1980s, while on assignment in Ethiopia, he became fascinated by the Ark of the Covenant. This fascination led him to write The Sign and the Seal, an investigation into the legendary artifact's possible location. This project was a turning point. It shifted his focus from the modern world to the ancient past, and he began to notice patterns, recurring stories, symbols, and architectural similarities in ancient cultures separated by vast oceans and thousands of years. This led to his groundbreaking 1995 book, Fingerprints of the Gods. This is where his central thesis truly took shape. Hancock proposed that a sophisticated, seafaring civilization flourished during the last ice age, around 12,800 years ago. He suggests this civilization possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering, and that they left their mark, their fingerprints, on later cultures around the world. Think of the pyramids of Egypt, the temples of Angkor Wat, and the megalithic structures of South America. Hancock argues that these aren't the products of primitive societies starting from scratch, but rather the legacy of a much older, forgotten parent culture. So, what happened to this lost civilization? Hancock points to a cataclysmic event known as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. The theory suggests that around 12,800 years ago, fragments of a comet slammed into the Earth, causing immense global flooding, rapid climate change, and widespread extinction. An event that would have effectively erased a civilization from the face of the planet. The survivors, he argues, scattered across the globe, carrying with them the fragmented memories and knowledge of their former world. These became the civilizing heroes, or gods, found in the myths of Sumeria, Egypt, and the Americas. Beings who brought agriculture, law, and astronomy to a traumatized, post-apocalyptic world. Let's look at some of the key pieces of evidence Hancock presents. One of the most famous is Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey. Discovered in the 1990s, this site features massive, intricately carved T-shaped pillars arranged in circles. The incredible thing is, it's dated to around 9,600 BC. That's 7,000 years before Stonehenge or the Great Pyramid of Giza. At the time it was built, mainstream archaeology believed humans were simple hunter-gatherers, incapable of such large-scale, organized construction. For Hancock, Göbekli Tepe is a smoking gun. It proves that complex society existed far earlier than we ever imagined, perfectly aligning with his timeline for a lost civilization. Then there's the Sphinx in Egypt. Traditional Egyptologists date it to around 2500 BC, attributing it to the pharaoh Khafre. But Hancock champions the work of geologist Robert Schoch, who points to the heavy erosion patterns on the Sphinx's body and its enclosure. Schoch argues this erosion wasn't caused by wind and sand, but by thousands of years of heavy rainfall. The problem? The last time Egypt experienced that kind of rainy climate was thousands of years before Khafre's reign, back during the end of the last ice age. This water erosion hypothesis suggests the Sphinx could be far older, a remnant from that earlier, lost period of history. Hancock also draws connections from ancient maps, like the Piri Reis map of 1513. This map astonishingly depicts parts of the coast of Antarctica, but free of ice. How could a 16th century cartographer know what the Antarctic coastline looked like beneath the ice sheet, something we only confirmed with modern technology in the 20th century? Hancock suggests the map was based on much older source maps, passed down through generations from that lost seafaring civilization that had charted the world before the ice caps fully formed. Of course, these ideas have been met with fierce resistance from the academic and archaeological communities. Mainstream scholars argue that Hancock's work is a classic case of cherry-picking evidence. They say he ignores data that contradicts his theory and draws connections where none exist. Archaeologists argue that there is simply no direct physical evidence, no pottery, no tools, no settlements of this supposed global civilization. They explain sites like Göbekli Tepe as the work of surprisingly sophisticated hunter-gatherers, not the descendants of a lost superculture. Critics also point out that the civilizing gods narrative has uncomfortable parallels with colonial-era ideas, where it was often assumed that indigenous peoples were incapable of building their own monumental structures without outside help. Archaeologists today emphasize the incredible ingenuity and independent innovation of ancient cultures all over the world. They argue that Hancock, perhaps unintentionally, diminishes these achievements by attributing them to a single, mysterious source. The debate is often heated and personal. Hancock has accused academia of being a rigid, dogmatic institution, unwilling to consider new ideas that challenge established timelines. In turn, academics have labeled him a pseudo-archaeologist, accusing him of misleading the public with sensationalist claims for profit. So, where does this leave us? The controversy around Graham Hancock highlights a fascinating tension between established knowledge and radical new theories. On one hand, science and history are built on a foundation of rigorous methodology, peer review, and verifiable evidence. Without these standards, we risk falling into a world of pure speculation. On the other hand, history shows us that major scientific revolutions often begin with ideas that were initially dismissed as crazy. Galileo, Darwin, Wegener with his theory of continental drift all faced intense opposition from the establishment of their time. Perhaps Hancock's greatest contribution isn't about whether he's right or wrong. His true impact might be the way he has reignited public curiosity about the ancient past. Through his books and shows, like the popular Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse, he has inspired millions of people to look at ancient monuments not as dusty relics, but as active mysteries waiting to be solved. He encourages us to ask, what if, and to question the narratives we've been given. He forces us to confront the fact that there is still so much we don't know about our own origins. The story of humanity is far from complete. There are still ruins to be excavated, jungles to be explored, and ocean floors to be mapped. Whether or not a great lost civilization is ever found, the quest to find it pushes the boundaries of our knowledge. It encourages new discoveries, new technologies, and new ways of thinking. Graham Hancock's work, whether you see him as a visionary or a heretic, serves as a powerful reminder that history is not just a collection of facts set in stone. It's a living, breathing puzzle, and there are still plenty of pieces waiting to be found. What do you think? Is there a lost chapter in our human story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining this journey into the world of Graham Hancock. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient mysteries and challenging ideas, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the fascinating questions of our past. Next up, we'll dive deep into the details of Göbekli Tepe. Imagine a world before cities, before writing, before even the wheel. What if I told you that in this prehistoric world, hunter-gatherers built a massive, complex temple that rewrites everything we thought we knew about human history? This isn't science fiction. This is Göbekli Tepe. For decades, we believed that agriculture came first. Humans settled down, grew crops, and only then, with a stable food supply and permanent homes, did they have the time and resources to develop complex religion and build monumental structures. It's a neat, tidy story we've been telling ourselves for a century. But Göbekli Tepe, a site nestled in southeastern Turkey, shatters that entire timeline. Discovered in the 1960s but only seriously excavated in the 1990s by the late German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, this site is a bombshell. It's dated to around 9600 BC. To put that in perspective, it's 7,000 years older than Stonehenge and 6,000 years older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's from an era so distant we barely have any other evidence of human construction on this scale. So, what exactly is Göbekli Tepe? It's a series of massive, circular and oval enclosures. At the heart of these enclosures are enormous T-shaped pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons and standing over 18 feet tall. These aren't just crude blocks of stone. They are intricately carved with stunning reliefs of animals: foxes, snakes, wild boars, gazelles, scorpions, and vultures. The level of artistry is breathtaking. The pillars themselves are highly stylized human figures, with arms carved along their sides and hands gesturing towards their loincloths. It's like a silent gathering of stone giants, frozen in time. Now, here's the kicker. The people who built this were not farmers. Evidence from the site and the surrounding area shows they were hunter-gatherers. They lived a nomadic or semi-nomadic lifestyle, following herds and gathering wild plants. The question that has baffled archaeologists is, how and why did these hunter-gatherer groups come together to build something so monumental? Quarrying, transporting and erecting these massive pillars would have required a huge coordinated labor force, something we didn't think was possible without a settled agricultural society to support it. It suggests a level of social organization and shared belief that is simply mind-blowing for that period. This is why Göbekli Tepe is so important. It flips the script. Instead of agriculture leading to civilization and religion, could it be that the intense need to gather for religious or ritual purposes actually spurred on the invention of agriculture? Think about it. You need to feed hundreds of workers for months or even years. Hunting and gathering in the immediate area would quickly deplete resources. Perhaps the need to provision these massive construction projects pushed people to start cultivating wild grains and managing animal herds nearby. In essence, the temple might have built the city, not the other way around. It's a complete reversal of our Neolithic revolution theory. The desire to worship, to come together for a shared spiritual purpose, might have been the very catalyst for the dawn of civilization as we know it. But the mystery doesn't stop there. One of the most puzzling aspects of Göbekli Tepe is what happened to it. Around 8000 BC, after about 1,500 years of use, the entire site was deliberately and carefully buried. Not destroyed, not abandoned to the elements, but intentionally backfilled with tons of earth, stone, and animal bones. It's almost as if its creators wanted to preserve it, to put it to sleep. Why? Did their beliefs change? Was it a ritual burial of a sacred place that had served its purpose? Or were they hiding it from something or someone? This act of deliberate burial is almost as mysterious as its construction. And it's thanks to this burial that the site was so perfectly preserved for millennia, waiting for us to uncover its secrets. As with any great ancient mystery, Göbekli Tepe has become a magnet for fascinating and sometimes wild conspiracy theories. The sheer scale and precision of the site, built by supposedly primitive people, has led many to look for alternative explanations. One of the most popular theories involves ancient aliens. Proponents argue that hunter-gatherers simply didn't have the knowledge or technology for such sophisticated stonework and engineering. They suggest that an extraterrestrial intelligence must have guided or assisted the builders, providing them with advanced tools or knowledge. The animal carvings, they say, could be zodiacal signs, and the entire site could be an astronomical observatory or even a landing pad. The T-shaped pillars, with their abstract human form, are sometimes interpreted as depictions of these otherworldly visitors. Another intriguing theory centers on a lost advanced civilization, a kind of real-life Atlantis. This idea, popularized by authors like Graham Hancock, suggests that a sophisticated human civilization existed long before we currently believe, perhaps during the last ice age. According to this theory, a global cataclysm, like a comet impact or massive floods from melting ice caps, wiped this civilization out. But a few survivors managed to pass on their knowledge to the hunter-gatherer societies that came after. Evidence of this is in how the oldest stones have the best craftsmanship, and that quality degrades over the timeline of the site's construction. This means that the site could be a time capsule meant to warn us of a consistent cycle of apocalypses. Göbekli Tepe, in this view, isn't the beginning of something new, but the echo of something ancient and lost, a transfer of sacred knowledge from a forgotten golden age. The carvings of vultures, sometimes depicted without heads, are interpreted as symbols of this cataclysm and the resulting death from the sky. Pillar 43, nicknamed the Vulture Stone, is a key piece of evidence for these theorists, who claim it depicts a comet impact and records the date of the event using astronomical symbols. While mainstream archaeologists largely dismiss these ideas for lack of direct evidence, you have to admit they spark the imagination. They tap into our deep-seated desire to believe that there's more to our past than we know, that our ancestors were capable of more than we give them credit for. And in a way, they're right. Even without aliens or a lost civilization, the reality of Göbekli Tepe is just as stunning. It proves that our ancient ancestors were not simple brutes, but complex spiritual people with a rich inner world and the incredible capacity to work together to realize a monumental vision. So what have we learned from this incredible place? Göbekli Tepe isn't just a collection of old stones, it's a time capsule that has forced us to redraw the map of human history. It tells us that the human drive for meaning, for connection to the cosmos, and for community is far older and more powerful than we ever imagined. It suggests that our spiritual journey as a species may have been the very engine that drove our technological and social evolution. The people who built this temple didn't leave behind any writing, but in a way they left something more profound. A question carved in stone. A question that challenges us to rethink who we are, where we come from, and what truly makes us human. The secrets of Göbekli Tepe are still being unearthed, and with every new discovery, the story of our own beginnings gets a little more complex and a lot more magical. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. What do you think is the secret of Göbekli Tepe? Let me know your theories in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this exploration into our ancient past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into history's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching.